experienced seamen among them saw that if there had been an accident, it could not have happened to the ship herself, for she had every appearance of being under perfect control. Standing beside the pilot, who was preparing to steer the Pharaon through the narrow entrance of the harbor, was a young man who, with vigilant eyes and rapid gestures, watched every movement of the ship and repeated each of the pilot's orders. The vague anxiety hovering over the crowd affected one man so much that he could not wait until the ship entered the harbor. He leapt into a small boat and ordered the boatman to row him out to meet the Pharaon. When he saw this man coming toward him, the young sailor left his post beside the pilot and walked over to the side of the ship, holding his hat in his hand. He was a tall, slender young man, no more than 20 years old, with dark eyes and hair as black as ebony. His whole manner gave evidence of that calmness and resolution peculiar to those who have been accustomed to facing danger ever since their childhood.
"Ah, it's you, Dantes," cried the man in the boat. "What's happened? Why does everything look so gloomy on board?"
"A great misfortune, Monsieur Morel," replied the young man. "We lost our brave Captain Leclerc off Civitavecchia."
"What about the cargo?"
asked the shipowner eagerly. "It arrived safely, Monsieur Morel, and I think you'll be satisfied on that score, but poor Captain Leclerc—"
"What happened to him?"
asked the shipowner, visibly relieved. "He died of brain fever in horrible agony. He is now at rest off the Isle of Il Giglio, sewed up in his hammock with one cannon-ball at his head and another at his feet." The young man smiled sadly and added, "How ironic! He waged war against the English for 10 long years, and then died in his bed like anyone else."
"Well, we're all mortal," said the shipowner, "and the old must make way for the young, otherwise there would be no promotion."
As they were passing the round tower, the young sailor called out, "Make ready to lower topsails, foresail, and jib." The order was executed as smartly as on board a man-of-war.
"Lower away and brail all."
At this last order, all the sails were lowered, and the ship's speed became almost imperceptible.
"And now, if you'd like to come aboard, Monsieur Morel," said Dantes, seeing the shipowner's impatience, "you can talk to your purser, Monsieur Danglars, who's just coming out of his cabin. He can give you all the information you want. As for myself, I must look after the anchoring and dress the ship in mourning." The shipowner did not wait to be invited twice. He grasped the line which Dantes threw to him, and, with an agility that would have done credit to a sailor, climbed up the ladder attached to the ship's side. Dantes returned to his duties, while Danglars came out to meet Monsieur Morel. The purser was a man of 25 or 26, with a rather melancholy face, obsequious to his superiors and arrogant to his subordinates. He was as much disliked by the crew as Edmond Dantes was liked by them. "Well, Monsieur Morel," said Danglars, "I suppose you've heard about our misfortune?" "Yes, I have. Poor Captain Leclerc. He was a brave and honorable man. And an excellent seaman, too, grown old between the sky and the water, as a man should be when he's entrusted with the interests of such an important firm as Morel & Son." "But," said the shipowner, watching Dantes preparing to drop anchor, "it seems to me a man doesn't have to be old to do his work well, Danglars. Our friend Edmond there doesn't look as though he needs advice from anyone." "Yes," said Danglars, casting Dantes a glance full of hatred. "He's young, and he has no doubts about anything. As soon as the captain was dead, he took command without consulting anyone, and he made us lose a day and a half at the Isle of Elba instead of coming straight back to Marseille." "As for taking command," said the shipowner, "it was his duty as first mate, but he was wrong to waste a day and a half at the Isle of Elba, unless the ship needed some sort of repairs. The ship was as sound as I am, and as I hope you are, Monsieur Morel. Wasting that day and a half was nothing but a whim of his. He just wanted to go ashore for a while, that's all." "Dantes," said Morel, turning toward the young man, "come here, please." "Excuse me, sir, I'll be with you in a moment," said Dantes. Then, turning to the crew, he called, "Let go!" The anchor dropped immediately, and the chain rattled noisily. Dantes walked over to Morel. "I wanted to ask you why you stopped at the Isle of Elba." "It was to carry out an order from Captain Leclerc. As he was dying, he gave me a package to deliver to Marshal Bertrand there." "Did you see him, Edmond?" "Yes." Morel looked around and drew Dantes off to one side. "How is the Emperor?" he asked eagerly. "He's well as far as I could tell. He came into the Marshal's room while I was there." "Did you talk to him?" "No, he talked to me," said Dantes, smiling. What did he say? He asked me about the ship, when it had left for Marseille, what route it had taken, and what cargo it was carrying. I think that if the ship had been empty and I had been its owner, he would have tried to buy it from me, but I told him I was only the first mate, and that it belonged to the firm of Morel and Son. I know that firm, he said. The Morels have been ship owners for generations, and there was a Morel in my regiment when I was garrisoned at Valence. That's true, exclaimed Morel, delighted. It was Policar Morel, my uncle. He later became a captain. Then, giving Dantes a friendly tap on the shoulder, he said, You were quite right to follow Captain Leclerc's instructions and stop at the Isle of Elba, although you might get into trouble if it became known that you gave the Marshal a package and spoke to the Emperor. How could it get me into trouble? Asked Dantes. I don't even know what was in the package, and the Emperor only asked me the same questions he would have asked any other newcomer. But excuse me for a moment, sir. I see the Health and Customs officers coming on board. Danglars stepped up as the young man walked away. Well, he said, he seems to have given you some good reasons for his stopover. He gave me excellent reasons, Monsieur Danglars. That's good. It's always painful to see a friend fail to do his duty. Dantes did his duty well, replied the shipowner. It was Captain Leclerc who ordered the stopover. Speaking of Captain Leclerc, didn't Dantes give you a letter from him? No, was there one? I thought Captain Leclerc gave him a letter along with the package. What package, Danglars? Why, the one Dantes delivered to the Isle of Elba. How do you know he delivered a package there? Danglars flushed. The captain's door was ajar when I was passing by, he said, and I saw him give Dantes a package and a letter. He didn't say anything to me about it, but if he has the letter, I'm sure he'll give it to me. Danglars was silent for a moment, then he said, Monsieur Morel, please don't mention it to Dantes. I must have been mistaken. Just then Dantes returned, and Danglars walked away. Well, Dantes, have you finished now? Yes, sir. Then will you come to dinner with us? Please excuse me, Monsieur Morel, but I think I owe my first visit to my father. Just the same, I'm grateful for the honor of your invitation. You're right, Dantes. You're a good son. But we'll be expecting you after you've visited your father. Excuse me again, Monsieur Morel, but after that first visit, there's another one that's equally important to me. Oh, yes, I was forgetting that there's someone who must be waiting for you as impatiently as your father, the beautiful Mercedes. You're a lucky man, Edmond, and you have a very pretty mistress. She's not my mistress, sir, said the young sailor gravely. She's my fiancée. That's sometimes the same thing, said Morel, laughing. Not with us, sir, replied Dantes. Well, I won't keep you any longer. You've taken care of my affairs so well that I want to give you as much time as possible to take care of your own. Do you have anything else to tell me? No. Didn't Captain Leclerc give you a letter for me before he died? He wasn't able to write, sir. But that reminds me that I must ask you for 2 weeks' leave. To get married? First of all, and then to go to Paris. Very well, take as long as you like, Dantes. It will take at least 6 weeks to unload the cargo, and we won't be ready to put to sea again before another 3 months or so. But in 3 months you'll have to be here. The Pharaon, continued the shipowner, patting the young sailor on the shoulder, can't leave without her captain. Without her captain? Cried Dantes, his eyes flashing with joy. Do you really intend to make me captain of the Pharaon? If I were alone, my dear Dantes, I'd shake your hand and say, it's done. But I have a partner, and you know the Italian proverb, he who has a partner has a master. The thing is at least half done, though, since you already have 1 vote out of 2. Leave it to me to get you the other one. I'll do my best. Oh, Monsieur Morel, cried Dantes, grasping the shipowner's hand, with tears in his eyes. I thank you in the name of my father and of Mercedes. That's all right, Edmond. Go see your father, go see Mercedes, then come back to see me. Don't you want me to take you ashore? No, thanks. I'll stay on board and look over the accounts with Danglars. Were you satisfied with him during the trip? That depends on how you mean the question, sir. If you're asking me if I was satisfied with him as a comrade, the answer is no. I think he's disliked me ever since the day we had a little quarrel, and I was foolish enough to suggest that we stop for 10 minutes at the Isle of Monte Cristo to settle it, a suggestion which I was wrong to make, and which he was right to refuse. But if you're speaking of him as a purser, I think there's nothing to be said against him.